Go grab your coffee. Come on back. I am going to talk to you about Christmas in heaven. So many of you have asked me to speak on this. It's not tarot today. It is Christmas in heaven with your loved ones. Go grab your coffee and I'll see you in a moment. There is Miss Maggie. She is in her position there. Today we're going to talk about Christmas in heaven. Is there such a thing? What do they want us to do? How do we celebrate Christmas down here when our hearts are broken? Going to touch on quite a few of these subjects that deal with death around the holidays. I want to start with, I think it was the day before Thanksgiving. A young man was killed in a car accident. Before he even had a chance to get his energy pulled together on the other side, there's quite a learning curve for them once they cross over. They can't just automatically come back and have a conversation with me. It takes a while for them to learn their new energy and how to use it. So normally when somebody passes over, it takes 2 or 3 months for me to be able to pick them up. A lot of mediums, they say 6 months. And that young man died on the night before Thanksgiving and came to me 3 days later. On the third day. Jesus isn't the only one. Whatever I can do, so can you. Remember what he said that. On the third day, this young man came to me, sitting in my living room. Bam, right beside me. He said, "Will you call my mother?" I got to tell you, this is hard for me. I promised her I would call her and let her know I got home okay. Can you please tell my mother I have arrived and I'm okay? We all say that to our friends and family when they leave and they're traveling any distance. Say, drive careful, call and let me know when you get there. So I picked the phone up and I tracked his mother down and called her and delivered that message to her. And she said, "Tina, I asked him to call me when he got home okay." The young man followed through on his promise to his mama. Yeah, sometimes it gets hard for me when and he's actually a second or third cousin to me. So a little out there, but still connected. So now that he's up there in heaven, what's going to happen? If you die in a tragic fashion, you are greeted immediately by the Master himself. Jesus will reach down and get you and help you to the other side. Whether you believe in him or not, he will show up at your death. Whether you believe in Jesus or not, he will show up. If you die in a tragic fashion, because I hear it all the time from your deceased loved ones. So they're welcomed over there. Jesus gets them across the threshold and onto the other side. Some of them don't need Jesus per se to make that transition, but in a real tragedy that happens very quickly and the mind hasn't had time to prepare itself that, oh gee, this might be it, then that's when Jesus actually helps them across. There are counselors on the other side that if they die tragically, that they help decompress them and help them settle in and relax and not be those other ghosts that we often, you hear me talk about, that are lost and trapped and stuck down here. And that's very rare. It doesn't happen near as often as people think it does. But they're also greeted up there in heaven by the loved ones that preceded them. Grandma will be there. Uncle Joe will be there. The baby that didn't make it full term will be there to greet that brother, uncle. It's a very parallel universe over there. They literally can see us because they are advanced in their spiritual technology. Obviously, they see us. We don't see them. They interact with us more often than you think because they see us do stupid stuff and they sit back and laugh. They're not allowed to intervene, but they are allowed to guide us. Okay. And many of your loved ones are now on the other side as spirit guides. And they're not allowed to intervene, but they can guide us. They kind of have to nudge us and bump us to get us to go the way they would like for us to go. Please celebrate Christmas. I don't mean just get together and, we miss him. We miss him. It's time to go. Did we eat yet? It's time. Let's go home. No, celebrate. Raise a little noise. Make some laughter happen. Because that's the energy that brings them in more than anything, is our vibration when we are happy. The frequency that we emit when we are happy brings our deceased loved ones closer, makes it easier for them. So celebrate the holidays with your deceased loved ones. You can put out a little chair. They have the little miniature chairs now for the shelf on the elf, or elf on the shelf. And you can put that little chair at the table and set up a little place around it. And that's for Uncle Jim Bob there, since we lost him this year. Set a place setting for them. A lot of people will set an actual chair, full-size chair in a place, and that's okay. But don't allow yourself to get to that sad part. Try not to. I realize it's difficult. I have lost a lot of family members through this time of the year. And it is hard to not allow yourself to go to that heartache again. So make sure you celebrate. Just laugh and have fun and bring them up fondly. And remember that time he pushed you in the snow, and reminisce and bring those things up. The other thing that they do over there is, and this is not something that you hear often, that not a lot of mediums even talk about this, is they prepare babies in heaven to make the trip down here. Your loved ones help. Those deceased loved ones help those babies make their transition back to this earthly plane. One of the things that those babies do before they are sent down here is their souls all stand before God. just like yours, just like mine. I think I did that backwards. Mercury retrograde. So we have these little legion of babies over there getting ready to be born. And they stand before God, every one of them. And they take on the mission. And they are in agreement with God on what they're going to do when they come down here. We agree on the basic trials and tribulations that we have to face while we're down here. We come into agreement on what we're going to look like when we come down here. What kind of a meat suit are you going to wear when you go down to Earth? Some of us pick out big ones, great big ones, because there is something that the soul needs to learn from dragging around a big old obese body. We can also pick out to come down here disabled, crippled, infirmed, because the soul will learn something from that. It learns patience and virtues that I can't imagine. We pick out our color on the other side. We pick out our sexual preference or orientation on the other side. We pick out our parents. I remember when I ran away the first time at like 4, 5. I remember throwing a little hissy fit and telling my mother I didn't ask to be born. I was mad at her. Yes, I did. I did ask to be born, and I came into agreement on that, mother. You choose your parentage. We literally have, I hesitate to say it this way, but a cast party on the other side before we come down. And we get together and we go, okay, last time around, down there on Earth, you were the woman and I was the man. And we didn't get along good. We fought. How about next time we switch up? You be the man, I'll be the woman. And we'll fight again this time down here. You will also come into agreement with your worst enemy on the other side before you come down here. Oh, your enemy down here. No enemies up there. You and your deadliest enemy may have been family in a past life. But you have come to agreement on, look, we're going to go down there. We're going to be mortal enemies. We're going to duke this out. We're going to make a big display, and then we'll come back up here and we'll figure out what we're going to do next time again. And that's literally how reincarnation kind of happens. Some of the process. That soul contract is pretty binding. One of the other things that we come into agreement on is the time frame we have to get all that stuff accomplished. Some of us get very short lives. Some of us choose longer. It is actually a theory that there are 2 or perhaps 3 exit points that we can take out of this lifetime that we're in down here. Either way, we do come into agreement on where those are. But we come into agreement on how much time we have here. All right, you have 37 years to get down there, get all that stuff accomplished, and then get back up here. Or you have 55 years to get down there and screw everything up, and then get back up here. Depends on that soul contract. And if a soul doesn't leave of its natural causes, old age, disease, then we have accidents. But if the soul doesn't leave, if any of those things don't happen for that soul to leave on the day that it agreed, it will take that into its own hands, that soul. And I have to be careful with this. It will unalive itself. A lot of people really get heartbroken when suicide happens. It leaves the family behind with so many questions and so many heartaches. If only I could have changed it. You can't, because all of these things were agreed on ahead of time. But if your loved one leaves this earth due to suicide, whether even accidental, it completed its highest and final obligation to God. If your loved one has left the planet because of suicide, they don't go to hell. They don't go to purgatory. They're not held in limbo. They are greeted by a team of counselors that help them transition back to heaven. Suicide in our country is so high. There are groups of people that do make soul contracts as a group. All right. What do you say when we go down there this time that we all leave on a plane crash? Let's do that. I've never left the earth on a plane crash. Let's try it that way. Those souls literally do. The World Trade Centers. Now, on a conscious level, we don't realize that we've made that understanding and that commitment that we are going to leave as a group, but we do. Sorry, somebody was at the door again. But if your family member left this earth because of their own hand, they are equally loved in heaven. They are equally cared for and pampered and taken care of. So if somebody in your church told you that they go to hell or purgatory, you don't have to necessarily believe them. Now, what are some of the other things that they can do in heaven? It is absolutely a parallel universe. I have them tell me that they play golf over there. They hunt, they fish. Nothing gets killed though, okay? They drink beer over there, but it's got no alcohol in it. They do all of the things. They do a lot of traveling, seeing things, and expanding that soul by going and seeing and doing things. I have two sons that have already crossed over into the spirit world. And both of those boys were born profoundly handicapped. One passed as a baby, and Daniel was 23 when he left its earth. And I got to tell you, it brings me a lot of joy to know that he can get around and see and do things that he didn't get to see and do in this lifetime. He was never able to walk or talk. I hear him now. He's able to run and ride a bicycle. He's able to do everything over there. So I've got to celebrate his graduation and not grieve it. When we grieve, it really hurts them over there. They don't want to see that. I had one situation where a spirit told me that he literally was pulled away from his mother's energy because she was grieving so hard. We feel their energy oftentimes because one of the ways you can feel it is you cry for no reason. Like going about my day and all of a sudden something just makes me boo-hoo and cry. And it's because one of those sons of mine, their energy is close enough that we feel it. We just feel it. We don't know it completely, but we do. We just kind of feel their energy there. But when we're happy, that really, it just absolutely attracts them. They're doing their job right. They get accolades on the other side for helping us get to this point where we can help others through their grief and their heartache. But what do they do at Christmas? Everything. They come visit us. They leave when we get too argumentative. They hang out, watch us open presents. So welcome them in. Don't be afraid to mention your loved ones. Have a glass of wine with them. Have a cup of coffee with them. Doesn't make much of a difference what it is. But just acknowledge that your loved ones are there. And they'll be there waiting to greet you when your time comes. All right. Kind of a heavy topic. I hope I didn't lose a lot of you in this. It's deep. I get it. And I'm just going to kind of leave that right there. And you know that I'd never leave you, that I don't sincerely send love and light. See you soon.